Well, time for another movie sequel review. Now, Inside Out has been one of the more beloved Pixar movies of recent years. Well, I guess past decade. And honestly, I like it fine. I don't personally love it, but it's a good movie regardless of how I feel on it. It had plenty of imaginative ideas on how it portrays the human mind and imagination, as well as having some genuine, fantastic emotional moments and profound execution on the importance of sadness as well as joy. So it's really no wonder why it became so beloved. And so of course it had to inevitably get a sequel. Now, Pixar sequels have gotten a bit of a reputation of being unnecessary or just not as good as the original, as are the common complaints with things like Toy Story or the Incredibles sequel. And even though Inside Out definitely is a movie that doesn't need a sequel exactly, it is an idea that doesn't have potential. We're dealing with the world of imagination. The sky is literally the limit here, with a ton of possibilities on exploring emotional growth, maturity, and other conscious or subconscious aspects. So the potential is there, it's not undeserved. But again, due to Pixar's recent reputation of their sequels, it's easy to gain more hesitation. And I must talk about the recent controversial statement that after the reception of original movies like Elemental or Turning Red, that they're gonna keep on making sequels to iconic brands, which people hate because they want to push more original ideas. But I find that really cute considering that's those same people who initially shit on those movies when they came out, and no doubt were the contribution to why the studio didn't find them successful enough, so it does contribute to the never-ending cycle where people say they want more original stories but they never actually support them, so the studio doesn't want to do them anymore and make sequels that people will watch anyway because of iconicness, but then claim they should be more original. Sorry if that's a jaded outlook, but I've dealt with this for so long, I'm sick of it. But okay, Inside Out 2 does have the potential to either be exactly like the stigma of rehashed and uninspired sequels to make money, or something that can revive the spirit of the studio and bring new life to the series. So let's find out. Also, I should say some light spoilers ahead. So the main draw of this movie is that it introduces a new set of emotions: anxiety, envy, embarrassment, and ennui, or just apathy pretty much. I wonder why they do that. They're going along with Ruby's new puberty, which was foreshadowed with the joke at the end of the first movie. Which does beg the question, has Riley never felt any of those things before, but that's pretty pedantic. And admittedly, you might find a bit of a problem with these. The last movie ended with Riley and the emotions learning how they can combine themselves to make new emotions and memories, as this huge moment in the end where joy and sadness work together to make melancholy, and later a whole bunch of new emotions and memories are made. So this kinda ruins that, but you know, at least they're doing something new. But I do wish they made some more complicated emotions if they're going to make a new cast of characters. Though unfortunately most really aren't too important. Ennui or embarrassment really don't matter, and envy barely lacks like envy, I'm more like anxiety's yes man. Oh, and nostalgia's there too, I didn't remember they were even in there.
Remember it so you don't have to.
Anxiety is the only really important one here, who takes charge of trying to change Riley by highlighting her fears and insecurities. But if you notice, that's already covered by fear, who already encompassed anxiety with multiple scenes in the previous movie where they were writing up possibilities of things that can go wrong. But now anxiety pretty much steals all of that, so it effectively makes fear kinda pointless and much more subdued. Even though in execution it's kinda like fear is general shock and reactionary, while anxiety is more preventative and analytical. Which yeah, it does kinda suck, but for the plot they're trying to tell, I think it's necessary. The main plot is around Riley going through puberty and trying to get into the big hockey league, as the new emotions try to force Riley to their goal of perfection and do the new emotions outdated and send them away. So they have to get back and stop Riley's psyche from spiraling, which admittedly is very much a repeat of the old movie. Granted, I don't really know what else you can do since you can't exactly have the entire movie be in the headquarters room, you should actively explore the mental world you create. And they do have some new and creative additions like secrets vaults, or a literal brainstorm where it seems the ideas come from. Which is honestly something I've wondered about in the first movie, like where did they come from? Though there are some that don't quite make sense. Like being sarcastic literally tears apart the psyche to make a literal sarcasm? How does that work? That just kind of felt like it existed for a joke. And unlike the first movie, it has the whole emotion gang, which is a pro and a con. It's great that we see more of the other emotions, since they were oftentimes put to the side in the first movie and couldn't branch out of their own core emotional state. But now we get them interacting with each other much more and get to see how they operate and react to the situations. Even getting a few really great moments and insights on them that I appreciated. However, we don't get something like a very strong relationship focus, like with joy and sadness in the first movie, which is absolutely compelling. Though their absence is very questionable in universe. Like the first movie had the entire big deal that without joy or sadness, Riley couldn't experience those emotions, causing a huge downward and noticeable spiral. So it's weird how days have gone by and it's not acknowledged that she couldn't have used any of her core emotions as they were thrown up by the new emotions and are being chased by the weird unexplained germ guys. No, seriously, what are these things? I'm wondering what the hierarchy of authority in the mindscape is? Like, I figure the core emotions are at the top since they directly affect and control Riley's feelings and thoughts, but then new ones can just show up and put a hit on them? It's so weird. But now, it's not only that. The emotions aren't just there to get back, but also to get back Riley's sense of self. A new thing introduced in the universe where emotions place particular memories in a new pit thingy that now makes up Riley's perception of herself. I thought it was a cool idea, but then I realized that it's kind of just practically the core memories again, with particular memories creating a new poor part of Riley's personality which gets endangered. Actually, I don't remember if the core memories are even brought up. Definitely looks prettier though. And yeah, while it is a bit of a reach of the older plot, at least it does have new twists and additions, and thankfully removes the many plot holes that happened in the first movie. Like, come on, send the core memories up the chute, it would solve all of the problems!
Whoops! I forgot to return his common sense! Whatever you do, don't jump!
Though there is the overlying Riley plot, where Riley's trying to get into the big hockey league and working herself too hard and is losing her friendships. So you can't consider it a very puberty-based story, dealing with trying to fit in and getting too worked up and forgetting who you really are. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, but to me it wasn't as strong as it could have been. Again, I hate to continually compare it, but I think the alienation of a new setting, how much Riley truly was losing herself to the point of running away, was more emotionally resonant and stronger to me. And as I said again, I didn't get too into the movie, but when those scenes hit, they really hit. Unfortunately, I never really got into the plot they were setting up here. It felt a little too low stakes and not as emotionally relatable to me. If anything, it kind of felt like some episode from an insideout TV series, especially with how long it takes for the main plot to kick off. Again, could just entirely be me. But even then, some stuff didn't really feel too developed like Riley's friends. Like, okay, people give Ruby Gilman shit for not developing the friend group much, but I legitimately don't think any of these girls had a personality outside of being Riley's friends, like, come on. Also, speaking of which, I swear they played the song that played in the intro of Ruby Gilman. It was just the most jarring thing for me to notice while watching. Like, it was a certified Leo chair moment in the theater I was in. But I've been harsh, there is a lot to like about the movie. The animation is very great. The first movie also looked great with use of color and imaginative architecture and designs, but the updated visual flair is still felt with a few really good looking places and designs, like this lighting in the sense of self area. It also likes to experiment with other animation styles, which we got a little bit of in the original. For a movie about the mind and imagination, it's more than likely to see a mix of animation working off of each other. It also had plenty of jokes that made me laugh, and it's surprisingly a bit more cynical than you'd expect. As well, as I said that we get some more character insight and development from the entire cast, I am happy that Joy maintained her development from the first movie, still having an appreciation for sadness and trying not to be so controlling of Riley's emotions, and understanding the importance of negative emotions. It could have been very easy to ignore that to have easier character drama or conflict, but I like how they didn't do that. Though Joy making a device that sends perceived bad memories away kinda seems counterintuitive of what she learned. But I really wish that Joy would have verbally acknowledged her previous struggles when anxiety is practically doing the same thing, trying to control Riley, but unknowingly harming them with their true focus on one thing. I mean, they kind of address it, but I would prefer it if it was more blunt. And yeah, I think the thing that's really gonna make or break the movie is its theme of teenage anxiety. Anxiety is controlling Riley, constantly making up fears and insecurity they're convinced will make them better, fundamentally changing them and making hasty decisions they feel is going to help in the long term, but ends up screwing with her more. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this problem when they were a teenager, when anxiety ran rampant and practically did drive their life and personality, or it's hard to feel anything but awkward and worried. And there's a really good quote about growing up in it that you'll know when you see it. And like before, it ends with emotional states and a sense of self, not exactly being black and white. To me, I did find the execution mixed since, again, I couldn't get into or relate to the main driver of Riley's anxiety, and I consider it to be more of a misfocused determination than true crippling anxiety. But it's just how I remember and relate to an experience. I'm sure there are many people who watch it and will immediately relate to it. and I think it's fitting for an emotionally based series. Everyone is going to have a different interpretation in relation to the ideas it presents. Sometimes you never felt the way the movie shows, and for others, they might have done so in real life, or portray the situation or feeling you get despite the fantastical presentation. As someone who struggled with anxiety before, it has brought up a lot I did personally understand and relate to, and feel a lot of people will more. I do think the original is stronger since it had a more focused story and a few emotional gut punch moments that hit so hard that I feel the sequel doesn't quite hit. But it's not like it doesn't try, and I'm sure that there are people who will feel they were in the same position. I gave some of my gripes, but I still enjoyed the movie, and I wouldn't count it as a worthless sequel, since it did expand and continue the story, and still brought up plenty of relatable and thought-provoking scenes and moments that I'm sure many people will relate to. Unfortunately, with the way internet and YouTube review culture has been turning out, I have a feeling the movie's reputation is going to be either, it's a worthless sequel that's generic, uninspired, and other insanely vague complaints, or, oh my god, realistic depiction of an anxiety attack, it's so based! But I still recommend you check it out for yourself. You might get something that really emotionally resonates with you if what I talked about speaks to you. I think it's a good time. Or, just parachute for his opinion, your choice. But honestly, it did give me a lot to think about what's going on in your head, especially since every mild inconvenience needs to destroy the mental scape. I wonder what I really think about this movie deep inside my brain. I wouldn't be calling you a job. I have no idea what I'm doing.
That's right, Doug Dimmadome, and I present to you the boy without fear, or happiness, sadness, shyness, joy, love, or any other emotion.